Hey everyone, welcome back to Shelf Life. And my next little episode here that I'm going to do is with this absolutely gorgeous coffee table book here. I just don't want a reflection on it, so I'm going to hold it kind of weird. Vamps, which is an illustrated history of the Femme Fatale by Pam Kesey, who also writes horror fiction, and she also does lesbian vampire fiction and film and TV critiques as well too. So this book was published in 1997. So, it's I won't say out of date, but like there's sort of been a lot more since then, obviously. And so she kind of like takes you in the Wayback Machine at first, gives you a little primer on, like goddess worship, fertility worship, and things like that. And then she sort of shifts it into more contemporary time, sort of starting with uh, literature. So, say, like, for instance, either poetry or, like, say, Lenore, for instance, by Edgar Allan Poe is actually sort of a good idea of a vamp. And then, say, Sheridan Le Fanu's Carmilla, which I think was written in the early 1800s. I haven't done my homework on that one, even though I've read it. And, considered super mild by these sort of modern times. It's considered the first lesbian vampire story ever written. Although, honestly, it's really just sort of about a girl who really likes another girl and is just determined to, like, get her. So, don't be expecting, like, fangs and blood and things like that in that story. Pam then sort of shifts things up to, like, the start of silent cinema. And that's sort of like really where, like, the image of, like, the vamp or the femme fatale was, like, it crystallized. So if you think of, like, Theda Bara and Pola Negri, so we've got these dark, mysterious, foreign in this, case, and Pola's case, not Theda's case, heavy makeup, brooding, mysterious, sexual, like, very, even this is before the Hays Code. So we're talking like really skimpy, outfits, especially Theda Bara and, like, Cleopatra. Like, her stuff was absolutely crazy, her outfits. And even especially like Theda Bara's, like, personal life, like, she kept that up. Like, she had crazy parties, like outrageous outfits, bisexual affairs. She smoked, and, like, she did all this stuff. And, like, we're talking like, mid 20s, early to mid 20s, before talkies, kind of. So, like, early 20s, a little bit before that as well too, like the late 19 teens. So, like, that's really where sort of Hollywood kind of, like, grabbed onto that, like, aesthetic. And also, like, all these other sort of, like, personality and behavioral things, like, on top of that, really sort of solidified the idea of the vamp. So going through that hits that golden age of Hollywood. So, think like Joan Crawford, Betty Davis, really strong, powerful, in some ways, like, kind of masculine. Marlene Dietrich, for instance, dressing in, like, tuxedos and menswear, but still, like, exuding this, like, powerful sexuality, and so, like, that's really kind of the whole point of, like, the vamp femme fatale, is that they are seductresses, temptresses, things that women in Western society, like, aren't supposed to be, like, autonomous, powerful, gender bending, and sort of like the whole purpose of this is to, tempt and then destroy men. So that's the whole point of, like, the fatal female. It's like, sleep with her at your own risk. Be tempted at your own risk, because, like, she might literally kill you. She might, castrate you. She might, kill rabbits, leave them for you. Like, this kind of thing. Or, like, even if you look at it from, like, a vampire point of view, like, sucking a man's blood. Like you could say that that was like theoretically, you're sucking out his vitality, his masculinity, like that whole kind of thing. So it's all very like kind of Freudian in a way. Um, Based on like the idea kind of like the monstrous feminine, even though there wasn't really like words for it back in the day, kind of thing. Monstrous feminine was a term, a theory coined in 1993 by Barbara Creed, who wrote about again, kind of very Freudian heavy of how men are like essentially on some level like afraid of women because they are going to be like either physically, literally, or metaphorically, destroyed or consumed or unmasculated, demasculated. I'm not sure actually, but you know what I mean. So that is what femme fatales do. But I mean, on the other hand, I mean, like, who doesn't like sex? Who doesn't like beautiful women? Who doesn't like, you know, mystery or intrigue or anything like that? So like, you can see how they have kept their appeal like through almost, centuries, 2 centuries maybe at this point. Um, it also talks about, witchcraft and how, goddess worship kind of went from like revering strong sexual, powerful women to like reviling and fearing them. Yay, Christianity for that. Um, and that's kind of like where the whole sort of thing shifted. So this is an absolutely like gorgeously illustrated book. A lot of shots from that's Sita Bara as Cleopatra. A lot of shots from the movies, from television, but also like portrayals of like vamps or femme fatales or mysterious women, painted in art as well too. So I mean, Gloria Swanson like is an absolutely, if you've ever seen like Sunset Boulevard, oh my god, amazing, right? And like really what makes a lot of these women sort of iconic in this way too is that like they don't care. Like they knew they were badass and they didn't care. I mean, some of them like were created. We've got Vampirella here. Not actually one of my favorite like comic book characters because I mean like she's just so ridiculously over the top that it's not even, there's nothing mysterious about this. Like she's just out there. I mean, and then you can like take the whole sort of like comedic thing, femme fatale thing to like the comedy end, and I mean like you've got Elvira who's supposed to be like all dark and sexy, mysterious and like dangerous or whatever, but then she'll do something like cut a fart joke. It's a great juxtaposition, and then you've got like if you're going to femme fatale classic Sharon Stone in Basic Instinct. Nobody will probably ever forget that scene. Where like the femme fatale is like honestly fatal. She will actually kill you if you get involved with that. So all in all, like this is such an awesome little read. It sort of also goes into a little bit of like the world of art, modern conceptions of like what a femme fatale is. And a lot of it too is also kind of based on like sort of, I won't say lesbianism, but like relationships between women, because it's just basically saying from the femme fatale monster cemetery, it's like you don't need a man, and that makes them even more dangerous, sort of thing. So this is like a really cool read. And even if you want to just flip through and look at the pictures and the photos and the history of film and television and the portrayal of women in that, and how like Hollywood and other sort of entertainment machines or corporations have like really formed this ideal of the femme fatale. I mean, I would even go so far as to say archetype, because I mean, most of it is going to be like very visual, right? So like very Hollywood. So yeah, check this out. And then like if you want to get into, maybe pull out some old movies, like dig up some old clips on YouTube of like Theda Bara or Pola Negri or Betty Davis or whatever happened to Baby Jane. Even some, Elvira, like Mistress of the Dark, something like that. Kind of go on like a little ride and discover all the sort of facets of the femme fatale. Thanks very much, guys, and I'll be back later with another video. Bye.